Hi, hope you're having a good Christmas Eve. Merry Christmas Eve. And welcome back to Far From Eden. I promised that I would be here on Christmas Eve, and I made it. Still fighting the headache a little bit, but I am slightly medicated, so I'm already going to blame that if I'm weirder than normal. Anyway, so I've been thinking about you guys all day long, wondering what your day looks like and what you're trying to survive through. And I've been doing my own surviving today. Just me and my doggie. And let's see, what did we do today? Well, you guys know I love Taco Bell. And I couldn't decide, should I have Chinese food or Taco Bell? And I was like, I feel like I want to be a little healthy and have Taco Bell. No, I just, Taco Bell won out. So I had an enormous amount of Taco Bell. And Lola might have helped me eat a little bit. She's looking at me now because calories don't count on Christmas Eve. So even though I'm supposed to be watching my cholesterol, because I told them I did not want to take their medicine, this is not medical advice, I did not want to take their medicine, I could fix my diet because I know exactly why it's the way it is. And then I was like, well, Christmas Eve doesn't count. Because I thought other people are eating and just because they jump off a bridge doesn't mean I'm going to, but Taco Bell's not that bad when you compare it. And I don't miss the regular feast and food of Thanksgiving and Christmas because I'm just not a huge meat eater in that I don't eat any meat and I don't do dairy. So it's I'm the person that's is there milk in this? Is there that? And it's just, I don't like to announce and be like, I am vegan and therefore you must cater to me. I hate that. So I'm just it's just not, the food part is not a big draw for me, so I don't miss that. So then I can eat Taco Bell. I will get excited about that. I don't think you understand how much I love Taco Bell, so it's pretty spectacular. So much that I didn't even eat any chocolate yet today. I thought about having hot chocolate while I talk to you guys, but I'm still too full from the tacos. And I'm just imagining what if somebody just tuned in, show my age, and they're like, what is this weird channel? Well, we're kind of hanging out tonight and we kind of have our thing, but we talk about a lot of issues here. And it's one of those things where if you know, you know, and if you're aware of what men deal with and just how the hell they're going through right now, especially in a certain age bracket, some stage of that hell, then you'd know why we're here talking about random things like Taco Bell. I have some Christmas music going in the back. I hope it's not distracting, and I also hope you can hear it. So I'm not the tech person, so I hope it works. It's not it's just literally playing. We're not being smart about it or anything like that. It's not being fed into the recording or something. I wouldn't know how to do that. I literally have to look down to see what I even did today. But so Taco Bell's a highlight. Okay, gotta stop talking about that. And I had a gift to give to, I don't do hardly any giving, receiving gifts. I kind of stopped doing that probably 13 years ago when my mom and I were roommates and stuff. We just kind of were let's just do her grandkids, my niece and nephew, and then maybe one gift for my sister, brother-in-law, maybe one gift from my mom to me, but very simple. I've never done Black Friday. The idea of it disgusts me. So I don't go around hating people who do it. It's just, you know what it's like? It's kind of like where if you have divorce, If divorce exists, then marriage doesn't exist. And I feel like if something like Black Friday exists, then Christmas, it's hard for Christmas to exist in the way it was supposed to be. Because it's just, how can you have that level of materialism and greed and the focus away from what it's supposed to be? And then be like, never mind, we also have this. I don't see how it can be both. So never participated. My favorite part of Christmas, of the whole entire holiday season, Thanksgiving, every holiday, my favorite part has always been Christmas Eve. And when I was little, they ask you, what's your favorite thing on Christmas? And, I'd be in like 4th grade, 9 years old. And they're asking, what's your favorite thing about Christmas? And I would answer Christmas Eve. I love to go to church on Christmas Eve. It was my favorite part to go to the late church that like you get out at midnight. I remember being a kid and it was so quiet and still when you'd come out of church. And if you're lucky that night, it would be a clear night and you'd see the stars. And I'm a weirdo, meaning I wasn't like other kids for some reason. And I wasn't thinking about Santa. I was thinking about how the stars that I was looking at were the same stars on that night 2,000 years ago. Oh my gosh, I'm trying not to cry. I get emotional when I think about these sorts of things. Happy tears, like filled with love and gratefulness. So Christmas Eve has always been my absolute favorite. The Christmas Eve sermon, telling the story, and the Christmas songs. So always be so excited, like which ones are we going to sing? And it was never enough of them. There was always like, oh, we didn't sing Noel. And then we rarely sang my favorite song, which was Away in a Manger. And it's interesting because you might go, well, of course, Horse Girl, of course that's her favorite one, talking about, in a barn. But that was my favorite one before I was an equestrian, like when I was little. And I think it made me think about my little brothers who passed away very, very young. They were infants, one in 78, one in 79, different congenital issues. Just very, 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 very bad fortune, and probably some parents who were not genetically matched very well. So I was older than them, but I always knew. I've known since I remember being conscious who they are and everything and where they are. And my parents taught me about that very young. And so when we'd sing Away in a Manger, wait a minute. It's Away in a Manger, playing right now. You guys. We're having a moment. It's Away in a Manger. I don't care if it's copyrighted. I don't believe in coincidences. I don't know about you, but I don't believe in them. They never play Away in a Manger. It's not a common song. It's never one of the songs it's never. And I was just talking about it, chose this random channel, and it was playing. I'm not gonna stop the video. No, we're doing it like it's live. God. So, I loved it because it reminded me of my brothers. And I was going to tell you guys the lyric that reminded me of them. It's the lyric where they say, bless all the dear children. Oh, what is it? In thy tender care. Bless all the dear children in thy tender care. And take them to heaven to live with thee there. And I remember that lyric. I was probably 4 or 5 years old. I have something else to tell you. Hold on a second. Let me finish a thought. I thought about my brothers when I would sing that lyric. Bless all the dear children in thy tender care, and take them to heaven to live with thee there. Now, next, they are playing. If you guys saw Friday's feed? Friday's show, whatever the show was. I'm so sorry. When I talked about my friend who passed away, that I didn't even know if she was sick. Remember I told you guys about her? Right after Away in Manger, they're playing her favorite song of all year long. She would always sing, the choral of the bells, something of the bells. Da, 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 da. That song played right after. Now you might say, well, you probably have a story about every Christmas song. No, I don't. I have a story about 2 Christmas songs. And I didn't even have a story about the Carol of the Bells, like a story about it, except that it was her favorite song. And she would sing it all year long. She'd just sing it under her breath, almost like a nervous tick. Like da 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 da. So, oh, that was unexpected. I'm glad we had that moment. That was very meaningful. You just don't know. There's more than meets the eye in this world. There is. Things wouldn't be so painful. We wouldn't feel such deep love if there wasn't more than meets the eye. So, Christmas Eve has always been my favorite. And the kids in school never believed me. That's fine. And so today, I kind of know some of my neighbors. And I told you guys about a lesbian secret crush that somebody had on me. Well, the one who lives next to her has been very nice to me, and she's watched my dog when I've had to be at a horse show or something, and I got her something, but then she brought something to my door before I could give her her gift. And it was so sweet. It's this box, and there's toys for Lola in there, and there's like little harnesses for Lola instead of her collar, which Lola won't wear because she's got this like lipoma on her side, and like she can't have anything around her. She's such a little princess. I have no idea. She's in there like ruining the linens. She's like a cat. I think she's either like a cat or a raccoon. I've been watching this prairie dog a lot on YouTube, Poppy the prairie dog, and I'm like, I think maybe Lola is a little prairie dog. She's not a dog. Dogs like to please and be pat and get belly rubs. Not her, not at all. It's weird. But anyway, I'm thankful for her. Hold on a second. I wasn't expecting emotions like this. So anyways, so she gave me this box, and it's got duck jerky in it for Lola, which she loses her mind over it, and she doesn't even appreciate that I don't do meat, and I'm over here with the duck flesh, just being savage. Just kidding. It's fine. I don't want to be like one of those vegans. It's like a problem. Obnoxious. So anyway, sorry. So I got my neighbor's gifts all wrapped up, and I had gotten her an ornament that looks just like her dog. Well, as close as I could get with a Santa hat on it. And then I also got like some like candy, like yummy treats, like stuff you wouldn't buy for yourself. Like, I'm going to get these, Reese's peanut butter cup dip pretzels. Like, you're probably not going to get that for yourself. But if somebody else gets it for you, you're like, yes. And then some of those like Ferrero Rocher chocolate things, I got that because I don't know, I'm a chocolate lover. And I feel like if you don't like chocolate, I don't know if I can trust you. Just kidding. But yeah, so I wanted to do something nice for her. She's very sweet. She's always looking out for me. I have her number, and it's just, I said the other day, her partner just moved in with her not that long ago, and they're both very nice. And the other day, I thanked them for watching Lola when I was at the horse show, and I just happened to say, it makes me feel really, it makes me feel so much safer that you guys are there. I said, because I was thinking the other night, like, what if I have to go to the hospital or something? And like, I know myself, I won't go if I think, what about Lola, right? I realize how wrong that probably is, and like, take care of yourself. But I was raised in a way that it's like, you take care of the animals first, and then maybe you get care. I don't know. But anyway, so I said to her partner, I said, it makes me feel a lot safer. Sorry, the bagpipes are getting a little loud. And it makes me feel safer that you guys are there because, God forbid I have to go to the hospital or something. And she interrupted me and she was like, oh no. She's like, if you have to go to the hospital, she's like, I'll take you and the other one will watch the dog, or, the other way around. I wasn't even thinking about them taking me. And it didn't even cross my mind to be like, to ask somebody, will you take me to the hospital? But I had this headache, the tension part of it I had 2 weeks ago, something like that. It was really bad. I was like, I can't take this anymore. Like, I said to myself, if it gets that bad again, I'm going to the hospital, because it was just off the charts. But anyways, that's not the point. The point was, these people are really nice, and I wanted to, do something nice for them for Christmas. And that's one of the things that bugs me about Christmas, is that people, women, they're like, they have their list of all the people they have to buy for, and it's almost like these are the people that get the more expensive gifts, and then outward and outward and outward until you're like, I've got a bunch of candles in case I forget somebody, and I'm just going to give them a random candle. And that's not really that's not really what gift giving is about. Because when it becomes an obligation, it doesn't feel like a gift anymore. I much prefer some other time throughout the year realizing someone needs something and kind of being sneaky and getting them that thing out of the blue when they're not expecting it, to be generous to them and show them, love them that way. There's no obligation. You went out of your way. You were thinking of them. You're being, you didn't have to do it. I love that kind of gift giving. But when it's like, oh, it's your birthday. Okay, everybody has to do this. Okay, it's Christmas. Now we all just swap crap. It's not, I can be such an idealist with this stuff. But I think that might be part of the reason that men don't really enjoy a lot of what this holiday has become. Because it feels so fake, So it felt good to receive something from them and give something to them. I don't like opening gifts like right in front of the person who gave it to me. It's so awkward. And I don't, I mean, sometimes I want somebody to open the gift in front of me if I know they're gonna like it, and I'm so excited I can't wait for them to open it. And I started to walk away, and then I turned around, I was like, wait. I was like, open the green one. Just open the green one right now. It's like, I know it's putting you on the spot, but just open it. And she opened it. And it was the one with the ornament that looks like her dog. And she started to cry. She was so moved. And I just felt so good. That was a great moment. That was a really good moment today. I felt really good to move someone like that, and they're not expecting it. That was great. That was a great moment. What else? What else did I do today? I watch. This is another thing that I do. This is not just holiday stuff, but I don't remember when it started. It started a while ago. Remember we talked about SNL? I think we talked about SNL either yesterday or the day before, because I was talking about I used to watch it all the time, even before it got to be what it is now, as political. But I used to watch it just to watch it, when it was like Wayne's World, and when Phil Hartman was on there, and Dana Carvey, and even like Adam Sandler, David Spade, Chris Rock, when those guys were on there. It's great. And it was like, it just felt like, even if it wasn't like laugh out loud funny, there was something relaxing about it. So that's been like a coping mechanism, I think, for me, is comedy. So I don't remember where I picked it back up. Sometime after my mom passed away. And I like to watch stand-up comedy. Especially stand-up comedy, people like Bill Burr. Joe Rogan has some really good, if you watch his 1 hour specials, like his last one, it was like 2019 or something, but they're really good. Who else? Tom Segura, he can be pretty gross, but he's clever. I like the clever ones. I like Nate Bargatze. He's very clean, and he's clever. I used to like Jim Gaffigan, but he's not as clever and witty. Clever and witty is what I like, because I don't want my brain to take a vacation. If my brain takes a vacation, then it just starts thinking about things it doesn't need to think about. Sad things, dark things, and I'm trying to lift myself out of it. So if I can laugh about serious things, kind of, and so I'm thinking, but it's lifting me. Also, it's sort of just to have a stand-up comedian that I watch. If I watch enough of it, it kind of gives me a coping mechanism throughout the rest of the day. It's because I can think about things a little bit that way, and I can see the humor. So I don't know if that makes any sense, but it's one of the ways that I've survived. And it's always the male comedians. I just cannot. There's Kathleen Madigan's kind of funny, but she reminds me a lot of Louis Black, and I know they're friends. So, and Angela Johnson is pretty funny. She's the one that talks about the nail salon. Oh, honey, that's why you don't have a boyfriend. Sorry, it's probably a bad imitation, but that was funny. But for the most part, it's the male comedians that I like. And today, I found a new one, or at least I don't remember him from before, so it's new to me. His name is Kyle Kinane. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but it was pretty funny. And, I thought to myself, oh yeah, he's Gen X, and so that's a good generation. They're funny, because we're a weird generation like that. But he was good. And then lo and behold, he starts talking about, one of his things was talking about appendectomies, and how if you get an appendectomy at a suburban hospital, they're just kind of so blasé about it, because they just do it all the time, and they call it a lappy appy. And he's saying the joke is he doesn't want you to be so casual about a surgery, let's say the whole name. And then he said, isn't it strange that they're always taking appendix out of people? But it's like when you're born, you leave the hospital, you're just leaving it in. You know it's going to be a problem, so that's part of his joke. Then he said something, I was like, I have to tell the guys. Then he said, but they sure do that circumcision right away. Yep. So he's like making a joke about, you know, they don't take your appendix out when you're a baby. I'm not saying they should, but they don't take your appendix out when you're a baby. And they know it's going to be a problem. It's like, what did he say, like a stick of dynamite in you, just waiting to go off. But they sure do go, I guess you don't want this big of a pee. And they don't even, you know, ask your consent or anything. And I was like, this is excellent. He's bringing this up. He's making them, yes, people were laughing. I get it. That's not good. But that's how you get it into the conversation. Like, let's stop the male genital mutilation, people, please. Let's talk about how ridiculous it is. We're so used to it. But, you know, when you think about it, it is barbaric. It's barbaric what they do. And all of that stuff about, oh, it keeps it cleaner, and none of that's true. You can go and look it up. I'm not here to convince you that's not what this video is about. Merry Christmas. But yeah, he was talking about it, and I was really, really happy because I thought that's another reason I like comedians, because they can push the envelope with the conversation and say some truth that needs to be said. I didn't agree with everything he said politically, this or that, and of course, that's fine. Like, I'm not going to only enjoy people who agree with every single thing I think. But he started talking about this, and I was like, we need more of this. Sorry. So that was great. Watched another guy a little bit before him that I hadn't really seen before, and that was good. That put me in a good state of mind. Because when you're vegging out, I was not in the mood for heavy documentaries or anything like that today. So there's only so many, you know, DUI videos you can watch where the girl is just basically showing you exactly how she was raised or wasn't raised. Like, you can see everything she got away with. And I'm like, okay, I can only take so much, because this is kind of what I do. I mean, I was going to say for a living, but it's more than that. Like, it's not a paid thing. It's not a choice. Like, this is what I do. So I watch humans in their natural habitat, and I study how are they behaving, and what does that tell me about how they were raised, and what the problem is, and how we got here, and all that kind of stuff. And I bet it'll shock you. I can get a little too serious. So stand-up comedians are very helpful. And I wish I could remember the other names. It's like, you know, I could say them if I wasn't, you know, on camera right now. Lose half my brain cells. The first comedian, he said something that I was like, I gotta tell them. You probably know this, maybe you don't. I did not know this. He was talking about like Legoland and stuff for part of his joke. The joke does not matter. But he said that men cannot go to Legoland unless they have a child with them. So if you're a single guy, you can't just go to Legoland. And when they're asked why, it's because they want to decrease the amount of kidnappings. And I thought, well, I gotta look this up and see if this is a real thing or what's going on. So I looked it up, and it said, the first thing I found said that adults must have a child with them. And a couple other places I found adults must have a child with them. Then I looked up, you know, males must have a child with them. And I can find on certain TripAdvisor, websites, it says males, not adults, males. And then it said, oh my gosh, this policy was at first thought to be what was the word they used? I want to use the right language. I don't want to just tell you my language. Discriminatory. They did say discriminatory. This law was at first thought to be discriminatory, but then it was something about the data showed that it did cut down on kidnappings and other, crimes. And I thought, wait a minute. You said it was discriminatory, but it helps with cutting down with a crime. But it's like, that doesn't mean it's not discriminatory. And you don't know that that's directly what it's related to. So it's just, and you might say, yeah, I mean, the most criminality on the bell curve is going to be with males. At least violent, crime. But I just don't like that it's like, it's Legos, you guys. Guys should be able to go to Legoland. We just shouldn't live in a society where you have that rule. But then again, before I started this show tonight, I was watching I watch a channel every evening. It's sort of my relaxing, end of the day thing. And it's a great chat, and we cover law stuff and sometimes, DUI stuff. And I'm not a giant fan of the state, therefore not a giant fan of police, but I am a giant fan of women getting caught and facing consequences. And there was a woman who had peed in the grocery store, and she was like 57. She was clearly intoxicated. And I was just like, where are we? A man by himself can't go to Legoland. We got women peeing in the grocery store. It's just, yeah. And people wonder why guys think about the fall of Rome. It's so obvious. But anyways, so that was my full exciting day. And I'm always noticing men's issues stuff like the circumcision and the Legoland. Oh, and Disney has it. I read underneath that it said the Disney parks have similar policies. And I was like, I can't believe I didn't think of this. And you guys probably all know this. But it just goes to show you there are so many things out there that are discriminatory or just basically in one way or another discriminatory against men, slanderous towards men. And so many of us women are walking around clueless to it. I didn't know before I knew, sort of fairly recently, I didn't know. And I think one of the big reasons is because you don't complain. You don't make a fuss. You're not out there with a hat on like the women had and with your sign, and you're not complaining about that stuff, about the way that you're treated and the fact that you're, mutilated as a baby. And you're taught and gaslit to think that was for your benefit. But I think I actually said this in an association that I used to be a member of, or I'm still a member of, a National Association for Men's Rights. And I said in the meeting, because they've been doing this for 40 years. They have been doing it for 40 years, trying to get men's rights, trying to advance men's rights. And I just don't know that it's gotten better for men in the past 40 years. I can't see that it has. I don't know. I would have been 6 years old 40 years ago, so I don't know. But I'm frustrated for you guys. You shouldn't be fighting in family court so hard and being financially raped, and you shouldn't be facing all of that. So I'm like, where's the progress? But here's the thing that I said in that meeting that day. I said, I think this is going to change only, it's a two-part. This will change for men only when women start fighting for it. And I hate that that's true, but it's because society doesn't care about men. So until women start, till they start doing that, nothing will change. And then you might go, well, we're all screwed then. Well, no, because women care when it affects them. We don't care till it affects us. When it affects us, we're going to make a giant stink about it and make everybody's lives hell until you fix it. I'm sure that sounds familiar. And I said to them in the meeting, I said, when the women's sons grow up and this happens to them, right? When it's her son and the son, his kid is being taken away from him. So her grandbaby is being taken away from her and her son. When that happens, when her son gets, financially graped for child support and everything, and then doesn't get to see the kid and everything, that woman's going to care. And that woman's also going to be the one, paying attorney's fees. If her son has had a child at a young age, say he's 20 and he has a kid, how's he going to fight for custody? How's he going to fight for, you know what I mean? The mom's going to want to do it. And I say the mom because I bet in that situation there probably isn't a dad. So I'm just going to go ahead and assume there are outliers. But, and guess what is happening? It's starting to change a little bit. I just see little snippets. I see some fathers' rights groups on Facebook where it's like a woman will pop up. Now, she's not very welcome, and I get it. But she's literally on there on behalf of her son, trying to figure out, well, what are her rights? Because the woman, the mama, the baby mama, just took the kid. And I'm like, there it is. We are far enough along in this mess that we're on to another generation. Oh, and there's another group. There's another group of women that are going to be like sucked into the fight. Not just the women whose sons are going to be affected, but the women who are the second wives. Slightly younger second wife of, if you marry a man and maybe you're feeling in love, right? She's feeling in love. So we'll just say she's in love and he's got kids with his ex, and his ex is a nightmare. And she sees how much he loves those kids and how unfair that ex is to him. Now she's in the fight on behalf of this husband. And I've seen that a few times in like family court that I watch on YouTube. That's either Zoom or it's like the court camera feed. I've watched it and I'm like, I've seen where the new wife is like helping the husband, the father, fight for his kids, and he has to do it pro se because they don't have the money. But man, you could tell she's done her homework. And I was like, there's this could change some things. Because women, we can see this in other women. Case in point, Amber Heard. I'm sure you guys are sick of hearing about it, and probably for a lot of you it didn't seem like a big deal. But I'll tell you what, that woman, Amber Heard, you can thank her. I'm being facetious and sarcastic for anybody who's seeing this translated. You could thank Amber Heard because that ended the Me Too movement. They tried to Me Too Russell Brand. They tried to Me Too Marilyn Manson right after Johnny Depp. Didn't work. Now, when the whole like a Me Too wave starts going, people are like, yeah, but I mean, where's the proof? Because Amber Heard, everyone was ready to believe her. Women were ready to believe her. And then they started seeing some facts that were just ridiculous, and some testimony that was ridiculous. And all of us women were like, no, girl, no. We could see it. And we all are pretty fond of Johnny Depp. So that made it easier to be like, that's our Johnny. That was our heartthrob from when we were younger. He's very like sensitive and you know, and we could see what she was. And so I think, I mean, you guys tell me in the comments if I'm wrong, but I'm telling you, Amber Heard and her whole shenanigans trying to say he beat her and this and that. And I know that Johnny Depp wasn't getting Me Too'd, but Amber Heard was lying about him, lying about being beaten up, lying about being raped on a massive scale. And so a lot of us women were like, nope. So anyway, my whole point is, when we can see that, we stand against it, it's hypocritical, right? It's hypocritical because you will see a woman and you're like that too. But they see it in the other one. So anyway, I think, as complicated as that sounds, and as hypocritical as that sounds, I think it can only be a good thing, where some women are seeing the bad behaviors of some other women. And it's going to start to maybe move the needle a little bit. I'm watching it as we go, as we make some progress. So that was pretty much how exciting today was. I want you guys to know that I read every single comment that you write, and you've been so supportive and so helpful and so insightful and generous with your stories that you've shared. I'm so grateful. I'm grateful for you guys. And I'm just really grateful for you guys. And I want to serve you well and provide content that's helpful. So, you know, suggestions are always welcome, because this really is guided by you all. So that's kind of what I want to do. I'm going to log into my computer right here. So just give me a second. Oh, okay. Stubborn, I'm not wearing my glasses. Just recently got bifocals. And I should be fine with them. But, you know, you get bifocals and told your cholesterol's high in like the same week. And I'm a bit rebellious. And for some reason, I can't type in my password. I don't know why I have a password on this computer. I don't need to have a password on this computer. What in the world is actually happening? Is it on caps lock or something? Heaven's sakes. Anyway, talk amongst yourselves. I'm really going to come up with a topic, because it's clearly going to be saying that a bit. Okay. There we go. I have no idea what that was. All right, we're going to change music. So, like I said at the beginning of our show, Christmas Eve was my favorite. Was always my favorite. I'd go with my mom and my dad and my sister, wherever we were living at the time, in the States or in Canada. And it was magical. It would be so dark. And of course, you're a kid, so you're usually not up that late. You know, this was back in the days when kids had bedtimes. And we were up late, and we're in our like nice clothes. We're in like a dress. Sorry. I'm in like a dress. My sister's in a dress. You know, mom and dad aren't fighting. It was a happy time. It was a happy time, and my mom would read Luke to us before bed. And then in the morning, we open presents or with the family. But that Christmas Eve, that stillness, that closeness and stillness. And it feels like, and I'll probably go outside after this, and I'll think of you guys. It feels like on Christmas Eve, when it's still, so many people around the world are all thinking about Jesus Christ. There's a lot of us that think about him every day. There's a lot that don't think about him every day, but still kind of go to church, on Christmas. It doesn't matter about the church part, though. That doesn't matter. It's what you're thinking about, where your mind is. And ever since when I was little, I felt like I could almost feel it. Everyone was outside of themselves and meditating on him. And it just felt the most right that anything ever felt. And I've experienced something like that every Christmas Eve of my whole life. And I will do it after this and when I take my dog out. But first, I wanted to have a moment with you guys. We already had a moment earlier that I wasn't expecting. But, the last song, when you're at church, it's usually Silent Night, and you're holding a candle, and they're playing alongside with a piano or something, and then the very last Yeah, I had no idea we were going to hear Silent Night in Gaelic, but I like it. I like it a lot. So, I hope you guys are able to get some sleep tonight. I know Australia. Hi, Jeff. Shout out to Jeff. He writes great comments. I'm learning things all the time. Anyways, so it's already Christmas, I think, for you, isn't it? Like, it's like tomorrow night. So I hope that you guys, have as good of a Christmas Eve as you possibly can. And remember that there are good things. There are good things. Good things exist in this world, and there are good things to come. You don't have to believe that. You don't have to be able to imagine it. But I'm just obnoxious enough to tell you it's true. And it doesn't mean you're going to win the lottery and everything's going to be fine. It means this life is crappy because this is Earth and this is how it is. It's not easy. It's tough. We don't always understand that nowadays because we're so privileged and, like we live better than kings did, 200 years ago. It's like, it's insane how comfortable our lives are. But this world really will kick your butt. I mean, diagnosis here, a death here, another tragedy. It's just one thing after the other until you finally go to the next, the next place. And it doesn't mean that that's going to stop. But it might mean that you see beauty where you couldn't see it before. You find yourself grateful for things you didn't notice before. You realize you're uniquely able to do something that somebody else isn't. So, Merry Christmas to you guys. And I will see you tomorrow when it's actually Christmas and Santa has come. I just felt like I could hear my parents saying that, especially my dad. So I'll have to tell you more about my dad another time. But anyways, have a good night, you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. All right? Bye.